Hey everyone, it's Lucy from KBeautyHobbit.com. Welcome to my channel. I do a lot of nail tutorials here, usually for stickers, both the kinds that require light and the kinds that don't, and also for press-ons. Today we'll be trying these very affordable press-ons from YesStyle. They were under $4. They look really cute online, so I thought I'd go ahead and try it. While this is not a sponsored video, nor did the brand gift these to me, YesStyle does send me coupons every month that I can redeem for whatever I'd like because I'm a content creator, so I did use that coupon to pay for these. So technically I didn't buy them, however I could have used those funds for anything else, and this video has absolutely nothing to do with the brand itself. They are not sponsoring it and they did not gift it. Inside the package we get a little storage box, a little application kit with what I assume is glue, a nail file, a cuticle stick, a set of sticky tabs which I will not be using today, and then of course the nails themselves. While Dashing Diva, Impress, and other brands like it give you a whole set of like 30 different nails with different sizes, these guys only give you 10 and you do have to choose your size when you're ordering. I only have experience with one brand like that called Love Her Beauty, something like that. And in their sizing, I had a medium, which was a little bit too wide for me. So I basically took a guess and ordered an S here, and hopefully this is the right size. I have no idea how to pronounce the name of this brand. It's spelled EOVDA. I'll put a link in the description box. I also have a coupon that you can use on YesStyle for any order. It's KBeautyHobbit. Again, everything will be in the description box. They do provide instructions here on how to apply these, but they're applying these using UV cured glue. I don't know that the glue that they include is actually the kind that you would cure with UV. Either way, I would not be comfortable using this type of nail with UV type of adhesive because if you note here, these are not see-through. These ones are a little bit opaque maybe. I don't think that shining a UV light on top of this, hoping to cure the adhesive underneath, would work at all. But either way, I've been using this Beauty Secrets nail glue, which I showed on my channel multiple times now. This is the best glue that I've personally tried. I bought this with my own money. It's not sponsored. It is viral on TikTok, and I will have to say that this is one of those products that absolutely deserves all of the hype. This lasts the best on me out of all of the nail glues that I've ever tried. As always, I start my application process with prepping the nails. My hands are very, very dry. That's somewhat intentional. I wash them with soap and water and dried them and didn't put any lotions or oils on them. That's on purpose. I then go in with a cuticle pusher. You can use cuticle remover. One popular one that I own is Sally Hansen brand. Again, the link for that will be in the description box, but I basically go through and push back all of the cuticles. And this little cuticle remover tool I have now has a little sharp end. Sometimes I will take that and kind of go over a little bit and just scrape any loose skin there. Be careful scraping. These tools are sharp, and while mostly they are just scraping the skin, I think if you keep going you will eventually start to gouge your nails. You want to have some pressure here, but not so much that you are shaving off parts of your nail. Another thing I did off camera ahead of time is cut off all of the length. You do not have to do that, but I don't like that extra length under my press-ons, and these press-ons are fairly short. I'm going to use my own little alcohol pad. You could use the prep pad. It's the same thing. The purpose here is just to degrease the nails. Please note that if you watched any of my other videos for press-ons, typically I first pick the sizes for the nails, arrange them in the order of application, and then degrease my hands. But because here I don't have an option of sizing, this is what I get. I have 10, exactly the number I need. I'm just going to go ahead and degrease them now. I do love this glue. It's going to sound like an ad for the glue. It's not, but it's just really, really good. It does not clog at all because it has this little needle-like little pokey thing in the lid that goes into the nozzle. So while you're not using the glue, it's not sitting there drying out in the nozzle. All I do is squeeze the glue onto my natural nail. You will find some tutorials on TikTok and YouTube for press-ons where people will apply the glue both to their natural nail and the press-on, and they say that that gives you the best sort of seal, and that makes sense. I'm sure it will cover some of the skip areas if you apply it to both surfaces, and if you skipped a spot on one, maybe you will not skip that same spot on the other. However, with the way that my personal skill set is, I cannot manage that. I literally will always make a mess. So I just put it on my natural nail and it works really well. One thing I'll say is give the glue a little bit of time, give it a few seconds to sort of start setting or getting a little bit tacky before you apply your press-on. Otherwise, it can be too liquid and you're just going to be pushing the nail down longer than needed and maybe even make a little bit of a mess. What you want is quite a bit of glue, and you don't have to do a ton of pressure because you don't want it to spill out of the sides. So I have my little pinky nail here. It's the smallest one from the first row, and I'm going to put it at an angle toward the cuticle while pushing back the skin a bit. I basically want it as close to the cuticle as possible without going over the skin, and then I'm going to drop it down. It's hard to film while also obviously keeping a hold of it so it doesn't fall. But once it's on and straight, now I'm going to apply even pressure. I want it to be firm pressure, but I don't want it to be so hard that glue is spilling everywhere. And I try to avoid rocking my thumb. You could move it a little bit, especially on the larger nails like your thumb, to make sure that you're applying pressure everywhere, but avoid rocking a lot or quickly because you can trap air bubbles. You can also spread any glue seepage. If any of it seeps on the sides, you can spread that around and create little glue imperfections on the surface of the nail. I always keep that little alcohol wipe I used earlier. I keep it around, and I don't know if you can see, but there's a little bit of glue on the side, and I'm just going to wipe it off sort of along the line, or you can wipe it away from the nail bed. You don't want to wipe it on top of the nail because again, you're going to create that weird little imperfection. I really wanted to order more from this brand because they have such cute little designs and the ratings on YesStyle are really, really good. But I kind of avoided ordering more than this one set because I wasn't sure what size I would need. The pinky in the size S is perfect for me. And my hands are not overly small. I have long fingers. I'm a very tall person. I have one viewer that thought I was petite. I'm not. I am close to 6 feet tall. I am a tall person, but I wear like a size 5.5 ring size on my ring finger on my left hand. So my hands are not super big. I'd say my nails are pretty average, but I guess maybe on the smaller side. I don't know if that helps you decide on sizing or not. Honestly, this was $3.32. So at that price, you could buy a medium and a small and just see which works better for you. You decide what you want to do. They do post little measurements for the sizes, but I find that incredibly difficult to actually measure because you have to go with millimeters, and nails are just, like mine are trapeze shaped. They're not uniform, the same width all around the nail. So I don't know, I find measuring really tricky. Now that I know that it's a small, that's what I'm just going to be buying from now on. I'm moving my hand around a little bit because that glue started to pool a bit on one side. I'm trying to apply enough glue here to really have good coverage, but I don't want it pooling on one side. I will also say that while this glue is absolutely the best glue I've ever tried as far as the results, that doesn't mean that I never ever ever get a pop-off nail. I do, and it's typically one of the nails that I do on camera, and I don't know if it's because it's very difficult to film while also paying close attention to the application, or because this is further away from my face than it would be if I were to apply it without filming. But I don't consider one pop-off a huge deal. I simply reglue it, but the majority of the nails with this glue last me very easily 11-12 days. Most of the time I'm simply just tired of the manicure and it's still holding on very well. Nothing is moving, nothing is sliding around. I used to be a huge fan of the attached glue tabs, brands like Dashing Diva Magic Press, where the tab is already attached to the nail. All you do is just peel back the little clear cover and apply. But honestly, with this Sally's Beauty Nail Secrets glue, I actually prefer that to the sticky tabs, believe it or not. Here's the finished look. Overall, I mostly had a really good experience for everything except for the thumbs. I don't know why, but the thumbs just kept kind of lifting off with the glue, and then they're also very sheer, so you can see all the glue underneath. I don't know, I have a feeling that this is mostly user error, but I've said this before, it's a lot easier to make non-see-through press-ons look good versus the ones that are more see-through, sheer, opaque, etc. So I think in the future, I'll only be buying the sets that are not see-through, because if you look at this nail, for example, it looks great, pinky, and then we have this thumb that is just a little troubled, but again, it's mostly user error. Here's the other hand. One thing I did was I switched the index nails around, because the way they had it is you would have the pink pinky and the pink index nail on the same hand, and then the blue index and the blue pinky on the same hand, and I wanted a little bit more variety. If you've ever used press-ons, you know that many of them have a tiny little remnant of manufacturing tab on the end, on the free edge, that you have to file off. And these, on a lot of them, had that toward the cuticle side. So I think whoever made these actually accidentally flipped them around, where when they were putting the designs, and I even looked at user pictures, everybody has this star at the top, but for example, on this hand, the little tab, the tiny little remnant of a tab, which they did try to file off themselves, I think, but I could still see it a bit. It was at the cuticle side. This is one of the fancier press-on manicures I've ever had, and for the price, I really cannot criticize anything here. Hopefully it lasts. Some of you have been asking for me to add a clip at the end of each video showing the wear. It is just not possible with my posting schedule to always do that. In some videos I do, but not in all of them. A lot of the times I am releasing the application videos while I'm still wearing the nails. What I can do, however, and what I do try to do, is go back to the comments and leave a pinned comment with how long the nails lasted and if I had any major concerns. I've also started to keep a little notepad this year, 2025, with all the manicures I've done and how long they lasted and my general thoughts about it, so that I can share them with you. And that way it jogs my memory too if somebody asks on an older video a question about wear and I just no longer remember the specifics, I can refer back to my notes. So hopefully that's helpful for you. But overall, honestly, as long as these wear okay, as far as the gems staying on, and the reviews online said that the gems do stay on, so as long as these don't all fall off within a day or two, I would say that this is a really nice brand, and for $3.32, I can't really be asking for anything else. This is great. So thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you found this video useful. You can find me on Instagram at KBeautyHobbit, my blog, KBeautyHobbit.com, and in my private Facebook group, Korean Beauty Fanatics. Thank you so much. I hope to see you in my next one. And until then, I hope you're having a wonderful week. Thank you so much. Bye.